Good morning, everybody. Wonderful having Dr. Meenakshi Bharath with us in this CCA Global Festival. And talking about CCA, it was a conversation that happened with global coaches around end 2019 about how to make climate change, the climate crisis, and nature part of every coaching conversation with leaders. Sustainability was a buzzword then. It was a word, but today, after the pandemic and 2 years into it, it has a lot of meaning. Today, bringing in nature into conversations is not very tough. A movement which started with a few coaches, after 2 years, has 1,700 plus members world over, and it does not comprise only coaches. Facilitators, psychologists, and professionals from all different spheres, whose major stakeholder is nature, is the one that drives CCA. And the founders, Dr. Josie McLean, Dr. Eve Turner, and Dr. Alison Wybro, are three amazing women who put this entire plan in place. As we started the festival, we definitely miss Dr. Alison Wybro, who lost her battle to cancer. But then we know this entire festival is dedicated to her spirit of smiling, being happy, and making nature a huge contender in every action of yours. We now have our speaker, Dr. Meenakshi Bharath, who's a gynecologist for 35 years, specialized in fertility work, and her medical practice consisted of making it easy for couples to undergo treatment to have children. Prevention is better than cure has always been her mantra, and her other passion stems from this mantra as she looks to prevent diseases created by garbage. From segregation to composting to using only reusables and having a waste free wedding for her children, a video that went viral, she is extremely active in converting people to sustainable ways of living. Having retired from active medical practice in 2018, she brings her passion for gynecology and waste management together in the campaign Green the Red, advocating reusable menstrual hygiene products like cloth pads and menstrual cup. Her aim is to make all women enjoy their periods and not hate it. Welcome, Dr. Meenakshi, and over to you.
Thank you very much. So yes, the campaign is Green the Red. And if you can look at my dress, it's green and red. The idea is that the moment you see something green and something red, it should strike you that yes, I can make my red green. So the red is the period and making it green is to use reusables. Now, over the past 70, 80 years, my son discovered that why did pads get manufactured? At the end of World War I, there was so much of cotton from all the cotton that had been collected to take care of the soldiers, their wounds, and all that was left behind. And that was when some of the nurses decided that they would use this cotton to make pads for themselves. And that was the beginning of what was Cortex pads. It's quite amazing to read, how everything got evolved. And so when I attained menarche in 1970, I was given pads. I'm sure my mother did not use pads. She was using cloth pads, but they had become modern enough and Cortex was available already in India. And that was when we were introduced to this. And whatever your mother introduces you to is what is gospel truth, right? Because all of us adore our parents and whatever they say is fine till we reach a stage of 16, 17, 18 when we start questioning. So this was what was given to me. And since there was no other alternative, over 50 years, not 50 years, 40 years, I used these disposable sanitary napkins. They, of course, became smarter. They became thinner. They became with wings and all that. And now this industry in India is a 17,000 crore industry. Just imagine how much of pads we are using. We have 335 million menstruating women only in India, and in the world, it is 1.9 billion women. So, yeah, and everybody is being told that the only way for hygiene is to use these disposable sanitary napkins. And in the cities of India, 70% of the women use this, and in the villages, already 50% of them are using it. And when you don't have the money, like when the pandemic happened and lots of people lost their job, when you don't have the money to spend the 50 to 150 rupees buying these disposable sanitary napkins, then you fall into what is called as period poverty, because you don't have this money to buy this pad and you think using anything else is poverty. But this disposable sanitary napkin is just not the thing. The 21st century products are available. Like we have changed. My mobile telephone in the 1990s could only save 50 numbers. My mobile telephone now saves 25,000 numbers plus so many details. So we have moved to the 21st century, and we need to understand that we should change to something that is more tenable, something that is better for our health, something that is better for our pockets, and something that is better for the environment. Because 1970, environment was not a problem. There was no garbage in the city because India as a country had not got used to single-use disposables. But India as a country is completely single-use disposables oriented. You won't drink a cup of coffee out on the road without it being in the paper cup. We've been telling everybody, carry your own utensils, carry a cup, carry a spoon, carry a plate, and carry your own water bottle. Why must we drink water from the disposal, from that, 10 rupee, half a liter bottle? Can't you carry your own water from home? And we are asking governments to put up those dispensers with a spout so that even if you don't have a glass, you can wash your hand and drink like we used to do when we were younger. There was no such hesitation, right? So let me get back to my green the red topic. Green the red topic is each one of us will use 10 to 15 pads into 12 months in a year. So we use about 180 pads. And in my lifetime, I would have used 6,000 pads. That's a lot of pads. And what do we do when we have finished using it? After 6 to 8 hours, we have to throw it out. Previously, there was nothing to throw it out. So we used to put it into paper packets and throw it out. But this pad stinks. It stinks because the blood that comes on this pad comes with bacteria that comes down the vagina. So this is the uterus. This is the 3-inch vagina. And as the blood from inside the uterine cavity comes down through the cervical canal, it lands up here. And when it lands up here, this vagina is an unsterile organ, has millions of bacteria, which are good for us. We have a microbiome. Over the last 15, 20 years, people are talking about the microbiome of every human being. We need bacteria everywhere, in our mouth, in our skin, in our intestines to keep us healthy. There is lots of areas in our body which are unsterile, and the vagina is also an unsterile organ. So this has loads of bacteria. So when the blood comes down like this and flows through here, it collects the bacteria, then lands up on this pad, and the pad becomes a great plate on which the blood, which is the food for the bacteria to grow, and the bacteria then produces a whole lot of gases, which are stinky gases, and which is why your pad now stinks. So you are dying to remove your pad as soon as it gets stained half. That is, if you can afford to throw away this pad and use a new pad, and you don't suffer from period poverty. So what do? You take this and then you fold it up, and nowadays we have pads which has a packet in it, and that packet, you put it inside another plastic packet and throw it. And this stink then goes to the landfill. So each one of us will produce so much of garbage. Just pure sanitary waste. Bangalore produces 100,000 kgs, 100 tons of sanitary waste in a day. So all of it goes to the landfill. Now, do we have another option? I didn't know of another option because I attained menopause 13 years ago. 14 years ago, I attained menopause. But yes, there is a 21st century option. Two options, one old and one new. So shall I talk about the new option first, and then we'll talk about the old option. The new option is the menstrual cup. It's an amazing device that has come into this world way back in 1934, but because at that time there was only rubber and there was no pliable material, that was not comfortable to wear. So first cups were made out of metal, next cups were made out of rubber, and then for a long time nobody wanted this because the pad industry had come up and they said, we need to survive. We need to not have any competition. And like America is a country where everybody has individual cars and no mass rapid transport, this also, designed by an actress called Leona Kalmers, was put aside. And these pads became very, very popular. And along with the pads, what became popular in the United States was the tampon. Now, both these products are disposable products, can be used only once, and needs to be bought month on month. Then this menstrual cup came into being, and this was made out of medical grade silicone, the same material that we all use for our catheters, for our stents, for our baby nipples. This is an amazing product. Medical grade silicone is fabulous. Yes, plastic we cannot do without it, but we do not need to use plastic for single-use disposables. We need to use it over and over again so that we can get maximum value out of it. And this menstrual cup, 15 grams of medical grade silicone, is a menstrual cup that will last every woman 10 years. So just imagine 15 grams lasting you 10 years is truly amazing. And then when you look at this, you say, oh my God, where is this supposed to go inside? Where else will it go? It has to go into the vagina because that is where the blood is coming in. All the blood collects in this cup directly without even staining the outside of the vagina. So all the blood comes inside this, and then we pinch it in the bottom, pull it out, drop the blood, and put it back again. Now, how much blood or how much do you bleed during a period? I'd love to say that all that we bleed is a peg of blood, 60 ml of blood, nothing more than that. So if we bleed a peg of blood, do we have to think that, oh my God, most women think Ganga Jamuna beh ja raha hai during my periods, but that is not what is true. What is true is that 5 tablespoons or 4 tablespoons of blood is all that we bleed, of which a good portion, 50%, is tissue, that is the endometrium that is lining the uterus. So truly, we don't bleed as much as we think we do. Then when you look at this and you start using this cup, and the cup has a capacity of 15 to 20 ml to hold, as against 5 ml that this disposable sanitary napkin has, then you realize, oh my God, I was under the misconception that I bleed so much. Yahan dekhe, to cup itna hi bhara hua hai. So this is something that will transform the way you think about your periods. So the menstrual cup is a medical grade silicone product which then is soft and pliable. It then goes inside and you have to reduce the diameter. It's the size of a nimbu. Now you reduce the diameter and make it the size of a groundnut. And then you insert it inside. Yes, you need to use lubrication in the learning phase. You can use coconut oil, you can use Vaseline, or you can use KY jelly, and you put it inside and it opens up. It then opens up and opens the vagina, and the vagina then hugs it like this. This is the vagina. It's hugging there on all 360-degree angle, and it forms a beautiful seal. When it forms a beautiful seal, all the blood comes inside this and there is no leaking. One of the worst problems that all of us have had during our periods is the leaking that happens. When the leaking happens, then the clothes that we are wearing get stained. So there is no leaking that happens. Then what happens? How do I remove it? I have to pinch the bottom. Now there are cups that have a stem in it. That was the older design. The stem, can you see? There is a little knob there. There is a little stem here. And there are longer ones also, which you need to cut to size so that the stem does not stick out of the vagina. So when you're wearing this cup, you don't even feel like you're having your periods because the blood is outside. Inside the cup, there's nothing that is coming out, and you are completely dry and free with no rashes on your thighs, no stink around you, the distinctive stink that all of us used to have when we were wearing our disposable sanitary napkins. That is also not there. So this is the miracle device that is available to make us change our lives. Now, how do you know that this cup is full? You pull out the cup, in the learning phase, you pull out the cup as often as you would change your disposable sanitary napkin. Pull it out and see, and then you say, yeah, I could probably go an hour or two more because the cup is only quarter full, right? So this is wonderful for even heavy bleeders because it doesn't get full. 20 ml is, you don't bleed more than 20 ml in a day, very occasionally. And when you bleed, you pull it out, wash it and put it back again, and wash it just with plain water. There is no need for any soap, no need for any detergent, and no need for any hot water also. I told you, the vagina is an unsterile organ. You need to leave it as it is. Put it inside, wash it and put it inside, and then take it out after a few hours, and then wash it again and put it inside. And when your periods are over, what you do is wash the cup with water again, no soap, and then after you have dried it, put it into a cloth bag that breathes. And then where do you keep this piece? Either you put it into your purse, which you will not keep changing your purses depending upon your dress, or you put it into your jewelry drawer in which you have your jewelry, because this is something that you need to find. If you just throw it into your cupboard where your saris, blouses, and dresses are, then all you will do is when your period starts, you'll never find it because we have so many clothes. So to me, keep it where you will find it in a safe place. Very important to find the cup, because this cup is what you're going to use for the next 10 years. All right. What else is important about this cup? When you're wearing the cup, you can sleep in any direction. You can sleep on your stomach, you can sleep on your back, you can sleep on the side, you can sleep in any direction, it doesn't matter. The cup is in the vagina. The uterus could have fibroids, it doesn't matter. The uterus is just there. The cup is just in the vagina. It doesn't spoil anything else for you. There are women who will say, my uterus is retroverted. Can I wear this? It doesn't matter. This is the vagina. The blood has to come through the vagina and collects in the cup. So very easy to use. Yes, there is a learning curve. There's a learning curve for everything. ABCD had a learning curve. Cooking has a learning curve. Wearing lenses has a learning curve. getting used to the newer methodologies of communication has a learning curve, and this has a learning curve, which would probably be 2 to 3 days of your periods. We have 65 days of periods in a year. So 2 to 3 days, you learn to put it inside and remove it, remove the fear. Such a big thing I'm putting into the vagina. What comes out when you deliver? A coconut shaped head comes out when you deliver. If that can come out, this can go in without any problems. And when you have intercourse, this is what goes inside. So if this can go inside, this can go inside this way too, without creating any harm to your vagina. It doesn't stretch your vagina. It doesn't make your vaginal muscles weak. Nothing like that happens. You have to use this to understand what a wonderful device it is for our periods. Even your dysmenorrhea or the pain during periods becomes less because this helps to reduce the congestion in the uterus and pulls it down. So that is the great thing. So I use Amitabh Bachchan's Ghadi detergent ad ka logo. पहले इस्तेमाल करो फिर विश्वास करो. अगर आप पहले इस्तेमाल नहीं करेंगे तो there is only fear in your head. Will it go in? Will it get stuck? Will it get misplaced? No, the vagina is a dead end. It cannot go anywhere. So you use this, pull it out, wash it and put it back again. And the nice part of it is when your pain is reduced, there is no white discharge that happens. And why am I saying all this? Because I'm a gynecologist. And then there is no stink and there is also no problems that you have. So just fabulous. So this is the 21st century design product. Now, lots of cups have a stem or a knob to help you to put it out, but you have to cut it short so that it stays inside the vagina. So one of the companies decided to manufacture without a stem. And when you have it without a stem, there are lines here. You can see those lines. Can you see those grip lines? There are grip lines that are available. And when you grip it, pull it out, wash it and put it back again. And your periods are reduced. By the last day of spotting is not there at all. So it's truly an amazing product and all women should adapt to it. We have moved from the coal chula to the kerosene stove to the gas cylinder. How did the country across move to it? And all women are so happy that they don't have stinky food now because kerosene used to go into the food. Kerosene used to make the burtan black. So none of it is there, which is happening now. So this is like that. There is no stink. The ease of use is fabulous and you just need to adapt to it. सीखना पड़ता है इसको इस्तेमाल करने के लिए. अगर एक दफा सीख लोगे तो then you will never ever look at these disposable sanitary napkins. Now, how much does it cost? It costs anything between 350 to 3,000, depending upon whether you're buying a foreign product or you're buying an Indian product. Atmanirbhar Bharat, you buy the Indian product, made in India products. Buy that. And if there is a seal, can you see? Yes, you can see the symbol. So these will have symbols. These are patented products. Can you see this? I don't know if you can see it. What does it say? It says Shika, and this is Nari Yari. So these are cups which are patented, which have their name on it, and they are not, what has come from some other country, and you just sell it here. So medical grade silicone, one simple size, the medium size. You don't have to have big size, small size, and medium size. Everyone can use the regular size. The regular size, the vagina is a flat organ like this. When you put it inside, it expands and goes inside and becomes open. Otherwise, till then, it is chapta like this. So that's all that it is. Doesn't do you any harm. Right. This is truly amazing. You don't even have to remove it when you want to pass urine or stools. It's in the middle passage. Men have 2 passages, women have 3 passages. This is in the middle passage for us, and you don't have to remove it. Once in 12 hours, you have to pull it out, wash it, and put it back again so that there is no infection. I think I have explained all about the menstrual cup. Yeah. Shall I spend just 5 minutes talking about the cloth pad, which has come out in a new design? Why do I need to talk about the cloth pad? Because the younger girls from menarche to 18 years, the younger girls need to use something there because they're not used to their body parts and they don't know where the vagina is. They need to use something which is eco-friendly for them. So the cloth pad, which was used for generations, has now come out in a new avatar. There were 2 faults with the cloth pad. One was there was no leak-proof material in it, so the cotton would get stained. The cotton that we used the old days, 1950s and before, was old cloth. So now we are saying, make the cloth pad out of new cloth, which you can stitch at any point of time. This is just a rectangle which can be folded and put into this jacket. And the jacket is a leak-proof jacket made of polyurethane laminate, and it prevents your clothes from getting stained. And like the disposable sanitary napkin, it has wings and it can be put onto your panty so that it doesn't move up and down. Now, everybody says, I don't have time for washing. If you don't have time for washing your pad, how do you have time for washing your clothes, for washing your underwear? How do you have time for even brushing your teeth? Then life should be miserable because you don't even have time for brushing your teeth. It takes as much time to wash this cloth pad as it takes for you to brush your teeth. The only thing is you have to put it into a mug of water, soak it for 10 to 15 minutes, then squeeze out all the blood comes out, wash it, and then hang it out in the sun. The difference is the leak-proof jacket and the fact that you are going to hang it out and dry it in the sun. Now, we are saying there is no shame in our periods. It's the same as the men. They have to shave every day. Poor things. They have to shave every day because the stubble comes up. For me, we get our periods for only 4 to 5 days in a month, or sometimes once in 1.5 months. So there is nothing wrong in having periods. And if you're a woman and you don't have your periods, then there is slight difficulty in your getting pregnant. And that was what was my forte. I was a fertility specialist. So therefore, don't feel shy. Be proud of your periods and be happy to be getting your periods regularly and to be bleeding the right amount, not excessively, so that your hemoglobin becomes less. Don't do that. So that's the cloth pad, and it comes in many avatars. All of them will come with a leak-proof layer at the back so that you will not bleed. You will not stain your clothes. So this doesn't even look like a pad. This just looks like a a napkin, and you can hang it out and nobody will be any the wiser. The nice part of the menstrual cup is the menstrual cup makes your period completely private. The pharmacy man doesn't know that you're getting your periods because you don't go to buy pads. The housemaid doesn't know you're having your periods because there is no staining, no dirt, no stink in the bathroom. Your mother-in-law doesn't know you're having your periods because you're not asking her mother-in-law where is the dustbin. And nobody knows, your dog also doesn't know that you're having your periods because there is no smell of blood coming out of your vagina. So this is what are the options that are available for young girls and women. Young girls till they're 18, 20 years, till they're independent, they can use the cloth pad, and any woman more than 18, 20 years can make the adult decision of using the menstrual cup. Yes, you have to learn, like you learned how to use the mobile phone, learn to use the menstrual cup, and you will forever have happy periods.
Thank you, Dr. Meenakshi. So I'll open it up for questions. Anushli had asked whether we have time for questions. So Anushli,
Definitely.
yes.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Dr. Meenakshi, because as a teenager, excuse me for the background sound, my kids are there around. So as a teenager, I hated having this periods because of that whole process of going through the whole process plus the pain that you get on the first 3 days. And I think the way you presented made me feel like it's just a simple thing that we need to be proud about. I mean, it's part of a feminine thing. I think that also has to be part of the education, family. I mean, how the parents educate about it to the children about periods. I think they try to communicate, I think, like a very secret thing that you need to, kind of hide and do things, and, it kind of a process. So my question is that I have come across people who are sensitive when they see the blood, like they faint, and they get this dizziness and stuff like that. So even I know a person. That's why I'm asking the question. Like, so what she does is, like, she removes. She doesn't see the blood, she just pecks and she throws without seeing it because she doesn't want to see the blood. So in a process like this, how do you think that for a person like that?
So yesterday I was talking to another group of women, and that lady who has started using the menstrual cup said that I thought that I would feel queasy when I looked at the blood in the cup. But I realized that it's nothing, there is nothing queasy about it. When you cut your finger, yes, you see blood, but you're so worried about losing that 5 ml of blood, and you don't know what to do when you're losing that 5 ml of blood. How do you stop it? I don't know how to stop it. I don't know. What shall I use? What shall I use? Can I use my kerchief? Yes, you can use your kerchief. But you're so worried about infection that you don't want to use your kerchief. So you allow it to bleed, or you will where do you put your cut finger? Straight into your mouth. So there's nothing yucky about blood. Blood is just another liquid that is produced in the body. So nothing, no harm. They will, yes, the first time that you see it, you may get worried, but then you get used to it. So I don't think that girl will have any problem with using the menstrual cup. It is so comfortable that you will say, I'm willing to even look at the blood and not feel horrible about it.
For sharing that, and I think the reflection that comes to me as you're sharing is why we see it as a maybe as a disgusting thing is we see it like a dispose, not like a normal blood that we get from a cut from our body.
Correct.
I think women are it's a again conditioning, like that we have been told that this is a kind of a dispose. So
no, it's not. We are not worried about urine. We're not worried about stools. We accept that as normal. This is another discharge from the body. Sweat is another discharge from the body. Something that comes out from your nose is another discharge from the body. You always have saliva in your mouth. That's another discharge from the body. It's all normal. We have to begin to understand that we need to change the attitude. And when do we start teaching our girls that they are going to grow up? When they lose their teeth and the first new teeth starts coming up at the age of 7. At that point, sit your daughter down and say, daughter, I want to tell you something which is wonderful. You're going to grow into it. And all of us remember, as our aspiration was to be like my mother, to be nice and voluptuous like my mother. So the aspiration was that at that point, at 7, sit your daughter down. She's old enough to understand and say, baby, you're going to be growing up fast. You're going to have breast development. You're going to have hair in the armpits. You're going to have hair in the groin. And all this is because the hormones in your body are coming up and they are going to make you a young woman, a beautiful young woman. From a baby, pretty baby, you're going to become a beautiful young woman. If you're going to tell your girl that, and tell her with your boy with you, he also needs to understand that there's nothing shameful. Eventually, he's going to have a wife, right? And he is going to have to, if hopefully not buy pads, go and buy the menstrual cup for his wife. So then he has to go. He has to understand. We all need to understand everything about the boy and everything about the girl. And this is the start early, so that she doesn't get wrong information from her friends, from her friend's mother, from somebody else who says, I must tell you something, and that will be such a secret. No, tell her that there's nothing secretive about it.
Thank you so much for sharing. I felt like just the universe sent me to be here in this session, because my daughter is 7 years old now. She just lost her 4 teeth in the front. And I think after this conversation, I'm going to have that conversation, what you mentioned right now, with my son who is 9 years old, because my daughter has been asking, what is that flower thing that you have in your cupboard? And I have told, I will tell you when the time comes.
No, start now.
Now I realize it is now and not to delay further. And thank you so much for that. And my last question to you is about
1 minute. You send me a WhatsApp message to my number, and I will send you a lovely little picture which explains how the girl grows and becomes an adult woman. And then she says, Mommy, you don't know. I know better than you. That is the time that you know that your girl has grown up.
Yes.
Yeah, so ask your question.
Yeah. My last question is about the infections that you get when you're having periods. So when you're using this, I know even when you're using the pad also you get infections. So I just want to know how it can, what is the difference that this would make and how the infection works.
So the menstrual cup sits inside the vagina. The bacteria is outside of the menstrual cup. When the bacteria comes onto the pad with the blood that is coming down, then the bacteria is also coming down. Here, the blood is more or less without bacteria because it's coming straight into the cup. So this cup doesn't give you any itching, doesn't give you any vaginal infection, because it's sterile. It's made of medical grade silicone. It's the same as when your father had a stent or my father had a stent. I still haven't yet reached the stage of having a stent. But when I use the stent, then there is absolutely no problem. This has no infection. And because this is sitting in the vagina and there's nothing between your legs, you don't get that horrible thigh rash. And for people staying in Hyderabad or in the hot areas of the country, God, that rash is terrible. So here you have something that is sitting inside the vagina and therefore not producing any irritation, no heat, no rash. So no infection. And the pad is one of the things that is going from the rectum to the urethra. It's long, right? The space is only this much between the rectum and the urethra. So the stool, or if you haven't washed your bum properly, the stool can be sitting here and the bacteria will then climb up and go into the urethra, and that produces urinary tract infection. Now, when putting this cup inside, wash your hand properly. Don't have to wash it with soap. Just wash it with water so that there is no other thing around it. I'm not a great fan of all the sterilizers that are available, right? sterilizing liquids that are available. So wash it and then put this inside. Initially, there's something called as honeymoon cystitis. When you first have your intercourse, there is a great chance that the urethra is also touched because the urethra is so close to the vaginal opening when you have intercourse. So there is an entity called honeymoon cystitis. There is an entity called menstrual cup cystitis. When you first use it, there are chances that you could get urinary tract infection because this is touching the urethra too. But once you start using it, it doesn't touch the urethra anymore because you know which hole you're putting it through. You're not going to touch any other hole. So that's the reason why this cup does prevent you from having a whole lot of urinary tract infection, white discharge, vaginal infection, and no other problem.
Thank you so much for clarifying my questions and doubts, and I'll leave it to others who ask questions as well. Thank you.
Okay, any other question? Sriram, do you have any?
This is frankly the first time I have been talking so openly and listening so openly. I mean, as sort of, though I spent good amount of years, it takes time to seek, you know. I know doctors can speak very openly, but then what I have seen is daughter and wife during those few days, they do struggle. I've seen that, but then being a male, I've been helpless, and being an engineer.
You haven't asked them what is the discomfort that you're feeling. I never told.
They have gone to the doctors, and okay, like my wife she has overcome that now. So many years have passed. So this is one thing, as you said, that it's sort of not much discussed, but it should be discussed, but it's not much discussed as such.
So go back today and tell your wife and your daughter that I heard all this. Tell me, what is the sort of discomfort that you feel? What is it? In what way can I help you? And the best way that you can help is by presenting them with a menstrual cup.
Yeah, and have a word.
Your daughter is 21, right?
Yeah.
And she's in Bangalore. Ask her to come and meet me.
Yeah.
We'll have a class for her own whole set of classmates.
Okay, now the exams are going on. Once they're over, then
she's only in 7th semester, no? She has a 8th semester also to go through.
Yeah.
I'm only asking for an hour of their life.
Yeah, definitely, ma'am. And it's all ladies hostel filled with all girls. It's a huge campus, so she has a lot of friends.
Yeah, it also helps that the drains don't get clogged in the hostels because they all put this thing into the flush and flush it down, and this expands like that because there's gel inside the disposable sanitary napkin and the gel expands. You've seen the ads in the on the TV. All the lake's water can be taken up by this cup, by this disposable sanitary napkin. That's exactly what happens. It opens it up and clogs the drains. And then you have to get the Safai Karmacharis to come and manual scavengers to come and manually clean the drain. And that is terrible.
Yeah. So awareness definitely is something that we have to do as part of the sustainability drive, for sure. And I think catching them young makes it that much more easy because conversations at home become that much more merrier. And there's no oddness about discussing this over the dining table or in the living room with family. So thank you very much, Dr. Meenakshi Bharath, for giving us your time, your expertise, and sharing whatever we need to do as women and as family members to make sure that periods are a happy time. Thank you very much. And I will share your email ID as well. So if anybody is interested to get in touch with you for further conversations, then they can definitely get in touch with you as well. And this video will be on YouTube, so they can definitely watch it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Doctor.
Thank you, everybody.